we do have some time for hot topics. Let's hit the hot topics of the day. Number one, Dimitri Cherniak's The Goose NFT sells at Sotheby's auction for $6.2 million. Well, that doesn't sound like a bear market for NFTs to me. Let's get a little bit more on that. Generative artist Dimitri Cherniak's Ringers number 879 NFT sold for a hammer price of this 5.4 million and a full price of 6.2 million, inclusive of Sotheby's buyer premium on Thursday during a live auction, blowing past estimates during a time of slower market movement. Artwork, often referred to as the goose for its likeness to the animal, was the top lot during Sotheby's most recent auction of NFTs from the Grails collection, seized from a bankrupt crypto hedge fund, Three Arrows Capital. The piece was estimated to sell for a mere 2.3 million. Lots of great stuff rolling in here. I mean, Sotheby's participation in the NFT market has been very strong, and it seems like it continues to be. Adam, have you ever bought anything for Sotheby's? Plan to anytime soon?
I have not. Definitely something I want to do at some point. I think what I'll say to this is, like, Three Arrows Capital, glad they were able to seize it, and glad that it sold for more than estimates. So yeah, maybe the bull market's coming back.
Yeah, you never know with these things, like what happened there. I will say that there's definitely something interesting about the fact that it was sold for more than it was originally bought from, right? So, we do see in fine art, a steady state of appreciation historically, and if you categorize it this way, then yeah, it makes sense. On the other hand, you wonder if there were some very affluent folks in the industry that were trying to make a statement about helping those that were impacted by Three Arrows, and also sort of supporting some of the best fine art. I don't think we'll ever really know the answer. Only the person that bought it knows, in their heart, why they wanted to spend that much. It's a very personal decision, but for me, that thought crosses my mind.
Yeah, without knowing the nuances of the auction and how it went, I'm not sure. But if there is that good Samaritan, crypto native, art lover out there, I want to meet this person, and let's do some deals.
It does say the collectible was purchased by 3AC co-founders Sue Zhu and Kyle Davies in August 2021. Oh no, actually, that was originally for 18 ETH.
Yeah, they originally bought it, and then it was sort of put on the auction block.
Okay, got it. So that was not bought back. A quote here from Michael Buhana of Sotheby's, head of digital art and NFTs, told CoinDesk, where the article comes from, that the piece is a major highlight of his portfolio and one of the most significant works from the generative art movement. So, and now even more significant given the sale. Let's hit the next one, guys. Nike teases upcoming Airforia NFT sneaker hunt on Fortnite. I love that headline, Airforia. That's great branding. NFT sneaker hunt. That sounds just fun, right? I hope there's some sort of augmented reality involved. So, this move here would potentially mark a massive opportunity for Web3 adoption and by traditional gamers, given that Fortnite has had more than 242.9 million active players over the past 30 years, according to Active Player. In a brief accompanying video, Fortnite's and Nike's Air Max logos are featured front and center among a backdrop of floating clouds in the sky. So yes, shoes. It's been interesting. It's been interesting being in this NFT space, kind of from the beginning of the run up as we launched the podcast back in March 2021, and to just noticing, how all of these traditionally collectible items, are entering this space and taking their places and roles, and seeing the opportunities. Some of them being a little bit slipshod out of it. About it, some of them being more towards the forefront. But yeah, the sneaker movement, it's hard to remember a time where sneakers were not collectibles, right? Anybody ever, well, you said you bought those Air Jordans for your nephew, right, Adam?
Yep. Yeah.
And was that just for, sporting around town, or is your nephew like a a sneakerhead collector kind of thing?
So he turned 8. So I think he's collector, but like just getting started, but definitely has like an appreciation for like the Air Force Ones and the high tops. So he was super stoked about it. He also just like broke his finger and his cast was black and red. So like I planned it perfectly. So that was good. But yeah, I mean, generally for me, when I think about all the Jordans I used to own, and like I would take them on the playground and like had no idea that they would become these like incredible collectibles. So hindsight is always 2020, but I love this use case. It makes a ton of sense, and I would be a huge fan of them partnering up with Niantic and doing some augmented reality. That would be super, super cool.
Yeah, I think the other cool piece about this is back when I was growing up, a lot of the ways, and I think this is probably still true for a lot of kids who go to school, one of the ways that you kind of show your individuality is through your shoes, especially for kids that either go to like a private school or have some sort of school where you have to wear a uniform. Usually the only thing that you could kind of show some individuality on were your shoes. So now in a lot of these games like Fortnite, the way you show your individuality is through buying skins or a certain dance or whatever it is. But now you're potentially able to bring that individuality again through shoes again. I think it's a really smart way for Jordan to continue to do its branding to the next generation, to keep wanting to show that individuality, even if it's not in the physical world, into the digital world.
Yeah, totally agree. I'll just say one thing is Mythical has a game called Blankos, and they were doing all these drops with like Burberry and all these major designers, right? And like you had enthusiasts that loved the brand, and all of a sudden now we're playing the game and they're accessing a whole new total addressable market. But then you also just had a lot of gamers that are like, oh, this would be really fly if like my character could have these Burberry branded like high tops. So totally echo your sentiments there.
Yeah, it's interesting too. Am I remembering this correctly? I feel like Fortnite and Epic Games have not traditionally been so friendly to the NFT concept, despite the potential overlap. Am I remembering that right, Josh?
Yeah. There was a moment, right, where there's a said quote by a certain sort of leader in Epic, I think, about the NFT industry and whatnot. But from going to different gaming related events over the last few months, I've come to appreciate like the relationship between Web3 and gaming through a different lens, which I'm sure, Adam, you may have a perspective on as well, which is that the gaming industry are industrial pioneers that are essentially creating, gamifying stories. And what they're really doing is they're using every trick in the book to engage people and make things sticky. So when there's a new tool out there that could create more engagement, they want to test it out. They want to try it. They want to try everything that can make a game a more engaging, consistent experience. And their users have a constant thirst for more engagement and more creative ways to be engaged. So I think that Epic and a lot of these gaming companies took stock of that. And they're not sure where it's all going, but they don't want to be left behind.
You make a good point, Josh, about the power of gaming as an industry and sort of like consumer understanding, right? Because if you think about it, much like Facebook usage and things like that, they really have the ability to apply, the scientific method and statistical techniques to just optimize on the experience. It's really, there's an incredible potential there.
So with that point, Eathan, if they do that, if they're taking such a scientific data-driven event to like creating fan enjoyment, and they're into Web3, they see the potential. I think that's a really good signal for the industry as a whole. Were you going to say something, Adam?
Yeah, no, I echo your sentiments. I mean, I don't really know why there was such like a backlash in the first place. I think maybe it just got like a little too hypey. And I think for some of the sort of like core gamers, they didn't want to introduce like a gambling like component maybe into the game. But generally from my perspective, like for Fortnite, you have billions of dollars in revenue generated by people sort of purchasing a virtual currency to purchase skins, to show, sort of differentiate themselves and show this sort of virtual status. And then, for companies like Nike, it's all about like limited edition shoes and collectibles. So it just makes so much sense inherently. And it's nice to see this sort of move. And I definitely agree. They wouldn't be doing this unless they tested the hell out of it. So I think this is definitely like something bullish to highlight.
Yeah, agreed, Josh. Good point.